It was supposed to be a simple camping trip, nothing fancy. Just 4 friends, a tent, and 3 days deep in the Pine Hollow National Forest. Elena, the planner, Marcus, the skeptic, Jenna, the adrenaline junkie, and Caleb, the cautious one. They'd done this dozens of times before. Hiking, campfires, ghost stories. It was tradition, but Pine Hollow was different. Older. The trees seemed taller, the shadows seemed darker, and somewhere, deep between the mossy trunks and whispering leaves, something watched. The first day was fine. They joked, explored, took pictures. They set up camp by a bubbling creek, roasted marshmallows, told stupid, scary stories. But by the second night, Elena noticed something wrong. The woods shifted when you weren't looking. Paths they thought they knew twisted and changed. Landmarks vanished. Worse, Marcus went missing. 1 second he was there, laughing with Jenna over some stupid joke, and the next second, gone. No screams, no footprints, just nothing. At first they thought it was a prank. Classic Marcus move. Hide in the woods, jump out later, scare the crap out of everyone. But after an hour, then 2, then nightfall, the panic set in. They called his name until their voices cracked. Nothing answered, except the forest, the creaking of trees, the rustling of unseen things. Caleb wanted to go for help, but Jenna was adamant. We can find him. He wouldn't just leave. By dawn, they were all lost. The trail back to the car was gone. The landmarks, the creek, the ridge, the bent oak were nowhere to be seen. It was like Pine Hollow had swallowed them whole. The second day blurred into a nightmare. No food, no water. The trees pressed closer and closer together. The sunlight barely touched the ground. They saw things, figures behind the trees, whispers in the branches, and at night something circled their little camp. Slow, deliberate, waiting. By the morning of the third day, Caleb was missing too. No blood, no struggle, just his sleeping bag. Neatly zipped, Elena and Jenna screamed themselves hoarse, ran in circles, cried. Nothing helped. The woods stretched endless in every direction until Elena collapsed from exhaustion, and the world went dark. When she woke, it was night. The moon floated, huge and red over the trees. The shadows stretched wrong, too long, too thin. She was alone. Jenna was gone. Only the forest remained, endless, whispering, alive. Elena stumbled forward blindly. Branches tore at her arms, roots snagged her ankles. Hours passed, or minutes, or years. Time meant nothing. She fell again, too weak to rise, and that's when she saw it. A figure, tall, thin, cloaked in shadow, standing between 2 ancient trees. It didn't speak, it didn't move, it just watched. Elena tried to crawl away, tried to scream, tried to pray. The figure moved, faster than thought, suddenly kneeling beside her. A hand, ice cold, too many joints, long black nails, reached toward her. She blacked out. She woke at the edge of the highway. Car screeched to a halt. A woman rushed over, shouting for help. Paramedics, flashing lights, questions. Where did you come from? Are you hurt? Who are you? Elena couldn't speak. She just stared at the woods and deep within the darkness between the trees. She saw it, the shadowy figure, watching, waiting. It raised one long hand and waved. Elena should have been safe. Hospitals are safe, right? Clean white walls, beeping machines, bright lights that chased away the shadows. But the darkness from Pine Hollow didn't stay in Pine Hollow. It followed her. The doctors said she was fine, dehydrated, disoriented, a little frostbitten from the cold nights outside, but no broken bones, no infections, no signs of physical trauma. Miraculous, they called it. You're very lucky, the nurse said with a warm smile, adjusting Elena's IV. Lucky Elena wanted to laugh. Lucky didn't feel like the right word for waking up in a hospital bed without her best friends, without answers, without sanity. She barely remembered the police interviews. Faces blurred behind clipboards and cameras, voices distant like talking through water. "Can you tell us what happened? Where did you last see them? Do you remember anything unusual?" She wanted to scream, "Yes!" The whole damn forest was unusual. She wanted to tell them about the shifting trails, the whispering trees, the thing in the woods with too many fingers and no face. But she didn't. She just sat there, staring out the hospital window at the parking lot beyond, at the dark line of trees crouching on the horizon, waiting. They discharged her 2 days later. No family came to pick her up. Her parents lived 3 states away. Instead, it was Mrs. Harris, the motherly neighbor who'd known Elena since she was 10. Mrs. Harris hugged her tightly, whispering, "You're safe now, darling. You're safe." But Elena didn't feel safe, not even when she got home. Her house was exactly as she left it, messy, warm, alive. Max, her tabby cat, meowed in confusion when she stepped through the door, rubbing against her legs like nothing had happened. She pet him absently, locked all the doors, closed all the curtains, turned on every light in the house. Still, she felt watched. When she showered, the curtain moved behind her. When she tried to sleep, floorboards creaked just outside her room. When she opened the fridge, the milk carton was already open. Little things, small enough to explain away, if she really wanted to, but Elena knew it hadn't stayed behind. Something had followed her out of Pine Hollow. On the 3rd night home, she found it, or rather, it found her. She was sitting on the couch, wrapped in a blanket, mindlessly flipping channels, trying not to think, trying not to remember. When Max, normally the laziest cat in the world, sat bolt upright, his fur bristled, his ears flattened, he stared at the hallway, a low, rumbling growl built deep in his throat. Elena slowly followed his gaze and saw it, standing at the end of the hall, tall, thin shadows dripping off its body like oil. No eyes, no mouth, no face, just a black shape cut out of reality. Watching. Waiting. Max hissed and bolted under the couch. Elena stood, frozen, heart pounding so loudly she could barely hear. The figure tilted its head, as if curious, as if deciding. Then it stepped forward. The lights overhead flickered. The TV screen went snowy, and the air grew cold, so cold that Elena's breath puffed out invisible clouds. "Move!" Some primal part of her brain screamed, "Run!" But where? It was between her and the front door. It took another step, and another. Each footfall didn't make a sound. It wasn't walking. It was gliding, closer, closer, until it stood just feet away. Elena clutched the blanket tighter, like it could somehow shield her. The shadow raised one impossibly long arm and pointed, not at her, past her, at the back door. Elena turned, trembling. The curtains over the sliding glass door swayed gently despite no breeze. A faint tapping sound came from beyond them. Tap, tap, tap. 3 soft knocks, just like in the woods. Elena's stomach turned to ice. No, 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 no. She turned back to the shadow figure. It was gone. The hallway was empty. Only Max's wide, terrified eyes peeking from under the couch confirmed she hadn't imagined it. The knocks came again. Tap, tap. Tap. Elena backed away toward the front of the house, shaking, whispering under her breath. "This isn't real. I made it up. I'm just tired." She almost made it to the door. Almost. Until a voice whispered right behind her ear, a voice she hadn't heard in days. "Elena, help me. Marcus." Her blood froze. She spun around. Nothing. Just empty air, but the smell of damp earth and pine needles filled her nose. The smell of the woods, the world tilted, the house, the walls, the lights. All of it peeled away like paper burning in a fire, revealing dark trees, mist curling low around her feet, branches reaching like skeletal hands. The woods had come for her. Somewhere deep among the trees, something waited. Something that hadn't let her go, something that whispered her name, calling her back. The world had changed. The safe walls of Elena's house had been stripped away. Now she stood in the woods again. In Pine Hollow, or somewhere worse, the trees loomed taller than skyscrapers, their twisted branches clawing at a black sky. The ground squelched underfoot, soft and wet like rotten flesh. The air was thick, heavy with the smell of mold. Blood and something sharp and metallic, a cold, unnatural wind howled between the trunks, carrying voices with it, whispered pleas, cries for help, ragged, broken sobs. Elena stumbled forward, heart hammering so loudly she could barely hear. "It's not real," she whispered. "This isn't real." But the ground was solid beneath her. The cold was real. The pain in her scraped hands was real, and something moved in the trees. Following, stalking, waiting. She didn't know how long she wandered. Minutes, hours, days. Time meant nothing here, only the endless woods and the constant feeling of being hunted. Then she saw it, a clearing up ahead, bathed in a sickly green glow. She ran toward it, half tripping, half crawling, desperate for any change, any escape. The clearing was a perfect circle, unnaturally smooth. At the center stood an ancient oak tree, twisted and gnarled, its bark blackened and cracked like charred bone. And nailed to the trunk, with long, rusted spikes, was a body. It took Elena a moment to realize who it was. Marcus, his eyes were open, staring sightlessly at the sky. His mouth hung slack in a silent scream. His arms were pinned wide like a grotesque crucifixion. A thick black ichor oozed from the wounds, dripping down the bark. Elena's stomach twisted violently. She fell to her knees, gagging, tears blurring her vision. "I'm sorry," she choked out. "I'm so sorry, Marcus." The trees around her shuddered, like something enormous was moving through them. The ground trembled, and the hollow man stepped into the clearing. He was taller than before. 7 feet, 8, maybe more. His body was impossibly thin, like he was stitched together from shadows and smoke, where a face should have been. There was only a hollow void, a swirling pit of blackness that seemed to suck in the light. No mouth, no eyes, no nose, just a hollow. He raised one hand, fingers like broken twigs, and pointed at her. The meaning was clear. "Yours." Elena shook her head violently. "No, no, please, take me instead." She didn't even realize she was screaming. The hollow man tilted his head, as if considering. Then, without a sound, he glided closer. Elena scrambled backward, heart about to burst from her chest. She tripped over a root and fell hard onto her back. The hollow man loomed over her now, blocking out the sickly green light. He crouched, impossibly fluid, until his hollow face was inches from hers. She felt the cold radiating off him, the smell of rotting earth and ancient decay. He reached out. One long finger brushed her forehead. And suddenly, she remembered everything. Not just the 3 days. She lost in Pine Hollow, Mordaunt other woods, other missing people, other souls swallowed by the hollow man across centuries. She saw Jenna, stumbling alone through the mist. She saw Caleb, arms flailing as the trees closed around him. She saw Marcus, not dead, not exactly, but trapped, bound to the hollow man's tree, feeding it forever. And now he wanted her. Pain lanced through her head. Visions flooded her mind. Bones breaking, skin peeling, spirits screaming. The hollow man's gift. The truth of what Pine Hollow really was. A hunting ground, a trap, a feast. And now Elena would become part of it. Unless something deep inside her rebelled, a tiny spark of defiance. She wasn't ready to give up? Not yet. Elena pushed back with every ounce of strength she had left. "No!" She slammed her palms into the hollow man's chest. To her shock, he staggered. For just a moment his body rippled, as if the shadows were less solid than they appeared. And then she ran. She tore through the trees blindly, branches slashing. her skin, feet pounding the soft earth. Behind her the hollow man screamed, a sound like 1,000 dying animals, all at once. The trees twisted, the ground cracked, the sky boiled, but Elena didn't stop. She ran toward the faintest sliver of light. She could see through the trees, a thin, golden thread, a door, a way out. If she could just reach it, the world exploded around her. A shockwave of shadow and cold blasted her off her feet. She hit the ground hard, the breath knocked from her lungs. The hollow man towered over her once more, his form flickering, unstable, weaker because she had fought back, because she wasn't supposed to. Elena crawled toward the golden light, fingertips digging into the dirt, inches away. The hollow man reached for her, and she felt his claws brush her ankle, but then her hand touched the light, and the world shattered. Light, blinding, searing, holy light. It swallowed Elena whole. She fell through it, weightless, tumbling through color and heat and static like a scrap of paper caught in a hurricane. She couldn't breathe, couldn't scream, couldn't even think. Only fall, falling through the seam between worlds. Then, impact. She landed hard on cold stone, groaning. Elena pushed herself up, blinking furiously. The light faded, the roar of the storm dimmed, and when she could finally see, she realized she wasn't in the woods anymore. She stood in a long, endless corridor. The walls were made of rough black, stone, slick with moisture. The floor was cracked and broken, patches of moss glowing faintly underfoot. The ceiling stretched far, far overhead, lost in shadows. All down the hallway, doors lined the walls, hundreds, thousands, wooden doors, iron doors, massive doors with chains, tiny doors, barely large enough for a child, each different, each whispering, a low, terrible murmur, as if the doors themselves breathed. Elena staggered. To her feet, heart hammering. Behind her the golden light flickered once, then winked out, gone. No going back. She was trapped here now, wherever here was. She took a hesitant step forward. The whispers grew louder. Some pleaded, "Help us! Set us free!" Others snarled, "You're mine! You can't escape!" Some simply sobbed. The air was thick with despair, like a physical weight pressing down on her chest. "What is this place?" Elena whispered aloud. As if in answer, one door to her left creaked open an inch. It was a simple wooden door, scratched and battered. Through the gap, she saw movement, a pale hand beckoning. "Nope," Elena muttered, backing away. Another door, farther down, swung open with a bang. Beyond it, shadows writhed like living things. Whispers slithered out. "Elena. Come see. Come join us." She spun around, looking for any sign of escape, but the hallway stretched on forever. No windows, no exits, only more doors, more choices, more traps. Suddenly footsteps echoed behind her. Slow, deliberate, getting closer. Elena broke into a run. Her sneakers slapped against the cold stone, breath tearing from her lungs in ragged gasps. The doors blurred past on either side. Still they whispered, still they beckoned. She didn't look back. She couldn't look back. Not until she found a way out. Up ahead, something changed. A door, larger than the others, stood slightly ajar. Golden light spilled from the crack, warm and inviting, unlike the cold, sickly glow of the woods, unlike the death-soaked darkness of the hollow man. This light felt different, alive, real, hope without hesitating. Elena sprinted toward it. The footsteps behind her quickened. A dry, rasping drag joined them, like something scraping bone against stone. She could feel it gaining on her, smell the rotting, earthy stench of it. The hollow man had found her again. Elena pushed harder. 20 feet, 10. The door swung wider, light spilling out like a river. 5 feet 2. She hurled herself through the opening and slammed it shut behind her. The silence was deafening. No footsteps, no whispers, no rot, just quiet and light. Elena blinked, disoriented. She stood in a massive, open field. Grass waved gently in the breeze, stretching out toward a distant horizon where the sun blazed warm and golden. Birds chirped. The air smelled like fresh rain and wildflowers. It was beautiful, peaceful, safe. Tears sprang to Elena's eyes. For the first time since Pine Hollow, she felt human again, alive, free. She sank to her knees, sobbing with relief. It was over. She had escaped, right? But then, in the corner of her eye, a shadow moved across the grass. Slow, deliberate. Elena wiped her face, heart sinking. No, please no. She turned, and there, standing against the golden sky, was the Hollow Man. Only it wasn't him. Not completely, it was Marcus, or what was left of him, his face hollowed, his skin pale and cracked like old porcelain, his eyes empty sockets leaking black tears. He opened his mouth, and in a voice like wind through dead trees, he spoke, "You cannot leave." The ground beneath Elena cracked. Darkness leaked through the fissures, spreading across the field. The sky above flickered, twitched, twisted. The illusion shattered. It was never a real place, never a real escape. The Hollow Man hadn't been chasing her out of cruelty. He had been guiding her. She was always meant to come here, always meant to open the door between worlds. And now there was no going back. Marcus's figure swayed in the soft breeze, unnatural, like a puppet dangling on half-broken strings. His body cracked with every movement, the joints moving in wrong directions, snapping and popping. The black tears streaming from his hollow eyes pooled at his feet, seeping into the golden grass, which withered on contact. The rot spread outward, killing the field, turning the beautiful dreamscape into a corpse. Elena backed, away, heart hammering against her ribs hard enough to hurt. "You're not real," she whispered, but she knew, in the pit of her gut, that he was. Marcus staggered forward. Each step left smouldering black footprints behind him. The sky above flickered, turning sickly green, then deepening into endless black. Stars winked out one by one. "You opened it," Marcus rasped. "You broke the seal." Tears blurred Elena's vision. "What seal? What are you talking about?" She stumbled back further until her heel hit something solid. Another door, jet black, ancient, covered in chains and runes, that pulsed like dying embers. It hadn't been there before, or maybe it had, waiting for her to notice it. "The door between worlds," Marcus said, voice hollow. "It was meant to stay shut. You opened it when you touched the light." Behind Marcus, the ground heaved and split open. Out of the widening crack crawled things, not human, not animal, something else. Grey skin stretched too tight over too long limbs, mouths that opened too wide, teeth too many, blind, soulless eyes that hungered. They crawled forward hungrily, black tongues lolling, sniffing at the air. At her. "You must choose," Marcus rasped. His voice changed. For just a second, the old Marcus she knew broke through, a flicker of sorrow, a hint of desperation. Choose or be devoured. The black door behind her pulsed louder, stronger, as if, feeling her indecision, chains rattled, the runes flared to angry life. Elena realized it then. The door between worlds wasn't an escape. It was a bargain. It needed a sacrifice, a soul. Hers, or someone else's. The creatures were closer now, their ragged claws tearing at the ground, their breathing loud and ragged. "Choose," Marcus croaked. "Now!" Elena's mind raced. If she refused, she would be torn apart, consumed piece by piece, her soul trapped here forever. If she chose, she might survive, but at what cost? The black door loomed behind her, humming like a heartbeat, waiting for her answer. Her hand moved almost without thinking. She reached toward the door. The chains slithered away, uncoiling like snakes. The surface of the door turned liquid, writhing like a living thing. A voice, not Marcus's, not the hollow man's, but something older, whispered from deep within. "Give us one. Give us what is owed." Elena turned to Marcus. He stared at her with those hollow, broken eyes. Was he already dead? Could he even be saved? Was he offering himself or demanding her? The creatures closed in, their stinking breath hot on her skin. Marcus raised a trembling hand, pointing straight at Elena. "You," he hissed. Something inside her snapped. The rage, the terror, the heartbreak, the betrayal, all of it ignited like dry tinder. "No!" Elena screamed. She spun and thrust her hand into the surface of the black door. The door shuddered violently. The creatures screeched, covering their ears. Marcus stumbled backward, clutching his chest as if stabbed. The door sucked at Elena's hand, pulling her in, tasting her soul. She fought it, pushed back, forced her will into the door like a dagger. "Take them!" she shouted. "Not me!" The creatures shrieked, shriveling like burning paper. Marcus howled in agony. The earth split open beneath them. The field collapsed into a yawning abyss. And the door drank it all in. Every scream, every shadow, every cursed breath, until there was nothing left but silence. Elena gasped for air. She was alone. The field was gone. The woods were gone. The door was gone. Only a grey, misty nothingness remained, and then a figure stepped out of the mist. Not Marcus, not the hollow man, not anything she'd ever seen before. Tall, cloaked, face hidden by shadow. The figure bowed slightly, as if in respect. "You have paid the price," it said. The voice was neither male nor female, ancient, boundless. "You are free." And with a flick of its hand, the world twisted again. Light burst through the fog. Colors returned, the sharp scent of pine needles, the cool touch of wind, the sound of birds singing. Elena opened her eyes and found herself lying at the edge of Pine Hollow. The real one. The sun was rising, golden, pure. She was alive. She was free, but deep inside her, buried where no one else could see, something hollow whispered. It was small now, quiet, but it was there. A door inside her, waiting. 1 year later, the town of Pine Hollow barely remembered Eleanor's disappearance. People moved on fast here. A missing girl found days later wandering back on her own. They called it a miracle. They said she must have gotten lost, hallucinated, trauma maybe. Even Elena tried to believe that, tried to believe the woods had played tricks on her mind. She went back to school. She smiled for photos. She laughed at jokes. She even went hiking again, but never near the hollow. Never again. The black door inside her stayed silent, dormant, until the first anniversary. It started as a whisper, a scrape, a faint knocking inside her dreams. 3 slow, deliberate knocks. Knock, knock, knock. At first, she ignored it, brushed it off. Nightmares, stress, maybe something buried in her subconscious. But the knocking grew louder every night. And it wasn't just in dreams anymore. Sometimes, when she was brushing her teeth or doing homework or trying to fall asleep, she would hear it, a fist rapping from inside her. Soft, steady, unstoppable. Knock, knock, knock. It drove her mad. She saw doctors, therapists, even a priest. No one could help. No one could hear it but her. And then, on the night of October 13th, the exact anniversary of her disappearance, Eleanor woke to find a black crack spreading across her bedroom wall. A crack shaped like a door, pulsing, breathing, waiting. Voice called from the other side. Familiar, broken. "Elena, let us in." She screamed. She tried to run, but her feet wouldn't move. She realized then, the door inside her, the one she thought she had closed forever, had been growing, feeding, becoming stronger. Now it was ready. Now it wanted out. The black crack widened, splitting the room in half. Hands clawed through. Shadowy figures, eyeless and grinning. The creatures she had condemned, the ones she thought she had left behind. They were coming for her, and this time there was nowhere to run. Her bedroom exploded into darkness, and Elena was swallowed whole. The town of Pine Hollow woke to find her missing again. This time, no search parties were sent, no candlelight vigils, just a quiet, fearful silence. Because, deep down they all knew, some doors once opened can never be closed.